In this lesson, let's draw a box using the line tool. Press L for the line tool and hover over this top corner endpoint. Click and draw up in the blue direction. Now you notice you're in 3D and we are in a view that has perspective. So your vertical blue axis is actually tilting a little bit, which means drawing in the blue direction, it might seem like your edge is tilting to the left. That's okay. Go ahead and click to trust that the blue axis is vertical. Then move your mouse in the red direction. So this is where inferences really help out. It's hard to know exactly which direction the red is in 3D, but go ahead and trust this. Now we want to find the point above this bottom corner endpoint, so hover over it, and then move your mouse up. And notice if you move straight up, there's no dotted line, but keep moving out to the right, and there it shoots up. So again, at the edges of your view, towards the right or left of your view, it's going to be even more distorted by perspective. But trust the inferences, so click there, where that dotted line was, and then move your mouse down in the blue direction to click. And if you orbit around, you'll realize you drew a perfect vertical side to this box. Let's repeat the steps over on the left back corner endpoint. Click once, move your mouse up in the blue. See the difference if I try vertical, what looks vertical versus way over to the left, there's what's actually vertical. Now I need to hover over an endpoint to know how high to draw this. So hover over that top back corner endpoint. Move your mouse back in the green direction. And there should be a point where you've got blue and dotted green. Click there. Then move your mouse across in the green direction and click at that top corner endpoint. You'll finish drawing that side in. Now down at this bottom corner endpoint closest to you, click and draw up in the blue. Hover over an endpoint nearby to reference its height. Move your mouse back. Remember, you might lose the inference on the way, but that's okay. Just move it back to where you have a blue axis inference and move back up until you have the cursor at a point where you've got the dotted green and the solid blue. Click there. And then finish drawing to the top right endpoint. Click there. This leaves one last edge to draw in. So from the back left corner endpoint, click and trace in the red direction to this corner endpoint and click. And if everything worked out, then all of your surfaces will fill back in and you'll have a box. If one of your surfaces didn't fill in, I'll just point this out here. If yours did, you're fine. If not, here's the fix. So I'm going to briefly mess mine up so that my surface doesn't fill in properly. So if you were to be at a point where you press L for the line tool and you trace from corner to corner and one surface fills in but not the other, it means that this was not a closed loop of coplanar edges. Now in this case, I can tell that it's a closed loop, but I purposely messed it up to make it not coplanar anymore. It turns out that this point is a little off. Well, if that's the case, here's a quick way to diagnose. If your box looked fine, you could move on at this point, or you could see how to diagnose this problem in the future in case you run into it. What you do is you go to Window, and you open up your Styles window. We'll cover styles in more detail later, but for now, go to the Edit tab. Under the Edit tab, click on the far left box here, this wireframe looking box. This is for edge settings. And then down where it says color all same, click to drop down that menu and choose by axis. Notice that all the edges in your model light up blue, green, or red if they are pointing in those directions. If they aren't highlighted, for me I have a black edge here and a black edge here. That means those are not perfectly in the blue or green direction. And so the trick is wherever two edges, in this case two black edges meet, that endpoint is the culprit. And it turns out that any edge that touches that endpoint is going to be trouble, including the red edge. Even though it was in the red direction, I know it didn't go far enough in the red direction. So to fix it, you would press E for the eraser tool and just erase away the black edges and any other edges that met at that trouble endpoint. So that's that red edge 2. And then you just repeat the steps more carefully. L for the line tool, click once, go up in the blue, infer a point if you need to, come back to the blue direction where it's dotted and green and also blue, click, and then move your mouse over, click, and then trace in the last edge from endpoint to endpoint, and everything should fill in. Now, if you fixed or followed along anyway, go ahead in your Styles menu, go back to where it says Color by Axis, and flip that menu option down and pick All Same again. We want to turn off that coloring of the edges for the rest of the lessons.